Hey guys, welcome to the SimRacingPaddock. I'm William Marsh, and it is finally here, the 6th early access release of Assetto Corsa Competizione. So this is my third attempt doing a live stream covering this. The first two attempts I did doing a live stream highlighting ACC ended up having issues. It turned out to be a bad overclock on my system, so I reverted my GPU clocks to stock, and thankfully it's working fine now. Did a couple races testing. Initially, I thought I was going to do a pre-recorded impressions video, but realized I had other things I needed to do. So I'm just going to get this out of the way in the live stream, share my thoughts on the new cars and new track. And talking about the new cars, there are two versions of the Nissan GTR GT3. And that covers the 2018 model year as well as the 2015 model year. As for the new track, it's Monza, which is my favorite Italian track. Second favorite track is Imola. But Monza, turn 1, that's going to be chaos online. So that'll be interesting. This new release was delayed twice, though. It was originally going to be coming out in February, and it actually ended up coming out in March. So we have a lot of new additions right now. We have the addition of Motec telemetry recording, and also I believe part of the telemetry addition also adds D-Box motion support. So ACC is now better suited for motion rigs and things like that. CPU optimizations, very welcome addition, because from what I could tell before, ACC was very CPU heavy. And then there are other improvements. I heard that the multiplayer netcode was totally rewritten to be more stable, which is great. Rain visuals were upgraded, which is nice. New utilities for camera, and there is a new radar widget, which works a lot like Heusinkveld, which was one very popular third-party add-on for the PC version of Assetto Corsa. So it's nice to see that being implemented as a first-party edition now. And if we look at this changelog, it is freaking massive. It is absolutely insane just seeing all this stuff, and a lot of it is welcome additions. So it's nice to see a lot of work done during these delays. So it's one thing to just talk about different changes and stuff. I'd say we should show you guys. So let's jump in, play some ACC, and hopefully it doesn't crash this time like it was before. I did a couple test races and it worked fine, so fingers crossed. So play ACC, and we should be good to go. So hopefully everyone's having a good week so far. I wanted to possibly do a stream yesterday, but had a couple things come up which sort of kept me away from computer. I have my telemetry up there, but I might close that down. So 1 second. Let's go to desktop. I just want to turn off the afterburner stats. So let's see. But yeah, so far I've done a little bit of test driving with ACC. This new car, it is a blast, I'll say that. So let's just set up quick race to at least get started. We'll start 20th out of 28, why not? Opponent skill, we'll do, I think 93 was pretty good for my skill level. And we'll set it to heavy rain, why not? Because part of the actual changelog said there are improvements to the rain, so let's find out. I still love how ACC has such a quick load time. Because if you consider Assetto Corsa, Race Room, R Factor 2, a lot of different sims have very long load times. So, let's take a look at the setups. Wet preset, yes. Why not?
Stay in double file. Alright, there is some rain in this session, so watch out for slippery curves.
So I have the wipers mapped. One thing I'm liking also at the top of the screen now, you see the time of day and also how much time you have left. So for wipers, you have slow and fast presets. Hello, Pilcoon. How's it going? So I believe I'm running this on high settings. Ultra just made the frame rate dip below 60 in rain, so I just wasn't a big fan of that. Oh my gosh, this is brutal. I can't see a thing right now. But it's nice, the the frame rate I can tell is above 60, which is good. Even in this heavy rain condition. There we go, fast wipers, we need those. I can tell the effect is improved. It's almost terrifying right now. Just pull out the spray so we can actually see. Car's a little jumpy right now. Missed my braking point right there. We might lose a spot. So one thing I don't like, though, about Assetto Corsa Competizione in the rain is the track seemingly always starts off dry. It starts off dry and then the puddles form after the first couple laps. I've been kind of noticing that. Oh, sorry, it ran a little wide there. Oh, I should not have shifted into second there. Oh, the Audi almost came down and chopped my nose. Okay, this is scary driving like this. I almost thought I missed the braking point, but it worked. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. Kind of wishing that the cars would actually get on the gas in the center of that corner, because it feels like they're a little too tentative through turn one. And but the spray they kick up is no joke. I can just tell that. I'm still not a fan, though, of this anti-aliasing, because it seems like the car is bleeding into the drops. Or the car ahead of me is bleeding into the drops, which almost creates this kind of surreal effect. Whoa! Shoot. That was a jerk overtake. But yeah, I'm noticing like the drops, and it just seems like the anti-aliasing, it has too much to keep up with. It's a weird effect. where the cars towards the top left, where like the excess drops are, where the wipers don't reach, you'll notice it gets a lot messier. Another thing I want to mention is that I noticed in the changelog, Kunos mentioned that they are going to have dynamic weather. Currently it's in online lobbies only, but then it's going to roll out to offline. Oh, that was a major hydroplane there out of that final corner.
Well done, mate. First of all, best.
Or aquaplaning. 300. So it seems like with this AI strength, they are very conservative through the corners. Even more than they should be in the rain, I think. Granted, we're only at 93%, but usually 93%, they're pretty darn quick. It's just some of the corners are a little off, I think.
Halfway through. Keep pushing.
But yeah, this is a legitimate challenge. I'm going to say that. You have to actually know the track to be able to drive well. Kind of driving on instinct right now. This other car's hot on my tail. Gotta say, they're knocking out of the park in terms of sound effects. These are great sound effects in my opinion. You just, the water hitting the car, going over to puddles. Like right there.
Well done, mate. Your fastest lap so far.
Yeah, the mirrors look a little too clear. The draw distance is garbage. And interesting, I aquaplaned right there. And that caused the other car to catch up because he didn't go through the puddle and didn't get his speed held back. But right there, in that corner, that BMW's just not getting on the gas, realistically. It's weird. And there's no way for me to make a pass on him there. Trying to get the right point. Oh, you can increase the draw distance? Okay, I'll have to take a look in the settings. What's up with my field of view? I use a 34-inch ultra-wide monitor. So, for the 34-inch ultra-wide, this fits pretty well, given my field of view. Oh, shoot. Yeah, you gotta be careful with those puddles. Oh, I just got punted a bit. Gonna force the issue. Robin's racing, boys. Yeah, I'm definitely not Senna when it comes to rain driving. Had to lift it there. That was not good.
Give me the final push.
A little loose there. A lot of green smoke there. Okay. It's one way to end a race. Alright, only finished 17th, but that was some exciting racing, all things considered. We made up 3 spots during the race, so not bad for 10 minutes. If it was a longer event, I bet we could have caught more cars. Just that rain driving, though, is brutal. I'm going to say that. That rain driving just gives you this extra sense of fear to an extent. Just feeling like you might wreck into the car ahead, which we did do once or twice. So saying, please press pause to end the session. Accidentally hit F1. So different camera angles, so we'll take a look at that in practice. Interesting how there's, like, it shows the different classes. Pro, Pro-Am, Silver, Am. I don't know if they're actually ranked differently class-wise yet. So it seems like with all these effects, the frame rate does struggle a bit in replays, so interesting. But turn 1 Monza, just super slow. Some things never change. So let's jump into practice session and see how this car handles in the dry. So we can jump into practice. We'll do 4 o'clock. And we'll speed up the day to night transition, why not? So, weather we will just set to cloudy. And yeah, that's about it for us setting it up. So let's talk a little bit about this GTR. So this is the 2018 GTR. We are going to grab the aggressive. So aggressive preset, why not? Jump in.
Green light, go, go, go.
So, this car, it is a front engine, it is a, I believe it's the V6 twin turbo, so same in the real life car. But I believe the power is bumped up a bit in this. Actually, I'm not sure if it's bumped up or bumped down, because I believe there was possibly the power had to be bumped down because the real life car was more powerful. But this car, unlike the real life car, this is rear wheel drive. because a real-life car is all-wheel drive, so that is an interesting change in the race car versus the real-life car. Or not real-life, but the road car. This has 6-speed sequential. Front engine, rear wheel. So it has that characteristic. It has a decent length wheelbase. Other cars have shorter wheelbases. But I gotta say, this car, all things considered, is pretty neutral handling. So it's a good car to sort of drive on. Basically, you can put it pretty easily how, like, and where you want to. Brakes are pretty good. Throw the car in. It'll handle the curbs all right, but don't get too greedy. I wouldn't say it's as snappy as some of the other cars, like the Ferrari or Lamborghini. Those are definitely snappier, but this is also quite a bit more responsive than the Bentley and BMW, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's just quick outlap around the track. I enjoy this car. It's a fun car to drive. It might be one of my personal favorites right now. It is a very fun car, but also I'm partial to the GTR. I really like the real life GTRs, so in sim racing I enjoy them as well. When do I think the full release of ACC will be? I'd like to say May, maybe? They said they're shooting for Q1, so I want to say Q1 runs until like end of April, end of May, so I'd like to see it then, but with the delay, I don't know. I don't know realistically, but I know there's still progress that needs to be done. There's still a lot of things that need to be finalized. I know they still have a few more cars that need to be added, maybe 1 or 2 more tracks, so hopefully those come soon for the final release. But yeah, apart from that, I don't really know. They haven't gone public on saying when the official release date is, and considering this was delayed almost, like the Build 6 was almost delayed a month, I can't really say. Bill, that is a great point, because that's the thing. They need to make a good impression with the final launch. They need to release a product that they can be happy putting their names behind. And I will say that this Build 6 is a solid step in the right direction. It has a lot of great improvements, but there's still a lot of questions that needs to be. Alright, so it's starting to get darker. 7:46 p.m. Let's turn on the headlights. So we'll get some night driving in. Yeah, Lux, the problem is that the tracks come down to the official roster for the Blancpain series. So for the GT3 Championship, it has the official tracks. So those are the tracks we have right now. And I don't think there's going to be any extra added for the time being. They'll likely do post-release DLC and stuff, because that's the way modern titles thrive on. But yeah, I don't know fully what their plan is going to be. But for someone like me who bought in early access when this like first came out, I'm excited to see what's happening. I'm excited to see what's happening, and I would have been very pleased if I bought in early. If I bought in later for higher prices, I'm not sure exactly how I would feel. But I think it is coming together nicely as a great racing title. I'll say that. And I just totally missed my braking point. I got distracted. Totally missed my braking point there. So, according to the changelog, they added a couple extra camera settings to driving. So, they have this one. I forget if this one was also in previous builds. But this is like the close-up driver cam. So this is people who like want a better field of view, don't want the steering wheel in. But it's kind of funny because the way I have my setup right now, my screen is a little far back, so my rim is blocking the display, unfortunately. I need to set my screen closer. Next angle. Come on. Why is it not switching cameras? Hold on. What's going on here? Hit the wrong button. There we go. There we go. So you can't restart the car unless it's stopped? Okay, that's weird. Okay, so here's the helmet camera that we know. Helmet camera works all right. I like to tone down the movement, but since this is a fresh install, this is the stock camera. So you see the head moves through the corners, simulates the G-forces. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm in the camp that I feel like I don't like it as much. Feels a little gimmicky, but hey, to each their own. It's nice having options. So next camera angle is, come on, is the hood cam. So for people who like this, I'm not really a fan myself. It just throws off my placement in the car and leads me to make mistakes like that. Bumper cam. And then chase cam, aka the Super GT cam. And it's nice they have this for people who like it, the gamepad drivers, so they don't feel left out. But it's next to impossible driving with a wheel in this. You have to mentally place yourself ahead of where you actually are. And then the far chase cam. I think they did a decent job. You get to really see the detail in the car model. So the detail in the car models looks great. But nothing beats a good old cockpit cam, in my opinion. One thing I will just give Kunos credit for is the lighting. The lighting looks amazing in this. And I guess nighttime it covers up the draw distance issue. So that's nice. So yeah, it seems like Kunos is doing a good job, but it just feels like they need a little more though. That's my opinion on it. Because this version of Monza, it feels great, it feels awesome. It has key differences compared to, say, the Assetto Corsa or iRacing versions of Monza. So keep that in mind. For example, outside of this corner, blanking on the name, there's no bridge anymore, which is sort of how it is for these GT weekends. And okay, keep off the sausages, guys. You don't want to hit that too hard. So yeah, I don't think that's as realistic when you hit the sausage curbs like that. So there are a couple things that could be improved. I don't think this has as good a tire model as the original Assetto Corsa, to an extent. This doesn't simulate the flat spotting or the visual tire wear that titles such as R Factor 2 have, so that's slightly disappointing. I would love to see flat spotting in this, but I believe the simulation of tire wear and the tire carcass is a little better, and I just totally got distracted. I gotta pay attention. Okay, let's get a good lap together, though. I'm gonna shut up and let you guys enjoy the sounds of the car. Yeah, also part of the reason I wanted to do this was so I could show you guys I could do a clean lap around Monza at night. But now, okay, you guys were talking about flat spotting, saying, oh, there might be flat spotting. Let's find out. That is a massive flat spot. Or massive lockup, I should say. Okay, let's feel. I am not feeling any flat spot. That's another massive flat spot. I'm seeing it is wearing out the tires big time when you lock it up. I will state that. You are noticing that it is wearing out big time. I'm trying to feel a difference in the force feedback. I'm not sure if I feel one. So again, It's wearing out the tires, but I'm not feeling a flat spot. Nowhere near as pronounced, if there is. Because if you feel a flat spot in Assetto Corsa, you're going to feel it. If you feel it in R Factor 2, you're going to feel it. If you feel it in Assetto or Mobilista, you'll feel it. So, if there is flat spot simulation in ACC, I'm not feeling it. Next test for simulating flat spots. Trying to recreate the tire locking up. So, we're going to be ginger on the brakes now. Because when you flat spot a tire, then it is easier, more prone to flat spotting. Well, that actually locked up pretty easily. I'm gonna turn off the headlights now. But here will be the test. No flat spotting, so with the amount of locking up that we had in those, I would have expected a lot worse. So I'm inclined to say flat spotting is not simulated. Now, if someone from Kunos wants to prove me wrong, I'd be happy to listen, but I'm just not seeing it. So turn off ABS to 2 now. But so far, I'm enjoying the driving feel of the cars. It is awesome. So with this, let's do a test with the 2015 car now. So we'll do 2015 car and try something again. And guys, my review on Dirt Rally 2.0 is going to be coming up soon. I just had a couple things in the way that sort of kept me from really jumping into my review right now. Okay, so race length. Let's do 10 minutes again. We'll do 18. We'll do 89% strength. Try to get some more battles. And let's do medium rain, because we did heavy rain before. And let's jump up. So that's 2018, 2015. There we go. Well, let's check some of these teams. Only one car livery available. But you can choose the different drivers. There we go. Cryptomaniac. Okay, CoPro Maniac. Maybe it's embedded in the damage setting and we don't have that yet. So that's one thing I'm wondering about. Since there's no damage simulation in ACC right now, maybe once there's damage, they'll have it. Who knows? Okay, so night race in the rain with the GTR. Should be interesting, especially on our frame rate.
Go in double file. Alright, we have some wet conditions. Remember that curves are slippery and watch your braking distance.
So you can tell the interior is a lot different compared to the others. Whoa! Whoa! Okay. I got distracted by the chat and the cars just... they stopped. Let's try that again. Okay, I gotta pay attention.
Stay in double file. Alright, we have some wet conditions. Watch out for curves and exit, and remember to brake early.
And we stalled it. That's the thing I hate about this in ACC. With the way it handles the limiting, it's way too easy to stall these cars. These cars just aren't going. Oh yeah, hold on. Before I start, increase draw distance. Thanks for that. So, view distance. That's high. Oh, mirror view distance. There we go. We'll do 80 meters. That should be all right.
Green light, green light. Go, go, go.
Turn 1 Monza in the rain at night! Oh, that Audi just jumped out in front of me. And it's a traffic jam. Try to make a move on the outside. There we go. Get comfortable with the driving right now. Gonna speed up the wipers a bit. Okay, this Bentley behind me has a run, I think. Except he tucks in behind. Trying to get comfortable with this car. Drives very similar to the 2018. Feels maybe a hair more sluggish. Oh, we didn't even have lights on. I don't think. Gonna turn TC down to 4. Okay, there we go.
Well done, mate. Personal best.
This Bentley though just has me on the straight line. But we just close in on this corner. Oh, that curb is brutal. Let's actually try to fight for a position now. Get the car turned in. Ooh, a little loose there.
Well done, mate. Personal fastest lap.
Alright, we're seeing some battling ahead of us. Just throw the car in, try to stick our nose where it doesn't belong. And they just get such a good run off. I don't know if it's like the 2015 cars aren't as fast as the newer ones, but it just feels like we can't catch them. Like maybe under braking and in turns, but in straight line we get clearly beat. But I thought the Lamborghini is a 2015 spec though. So I'm just slightly confused. I mean, that was my fault. I just totally missed the corner and like behind the longest straight. Yeah, Token, it turned out to be a bad overclock on my system. And it was a bad overclock freezing things up. Maybe too much wing. It could be.
Well done, mate. This has been your personal best.
We're within striking distance. Force the issue. Dive bomb! But they just have so much power out of there. I just couldn't get the power down. We were side-by-side drag race and the Lambo just handed it to me. Hey, SimRacer guy, how's it going? Yeah, I have the 7700K overclocked to 4.9. That wasn't the issue, it was my GPU overclock. Yeah, my 2070 couldn't even handle a 50 megahertz overclock. Granted, it's the overclock out of the box version, so it has some higher clocks already. Oh man, this Bentley's hunting me down now. Let's try this again. Force the issue. And we make it stick. Yeah, this car just, the BOP does not work as well, or default setup or whatever. Alright, we might have one more lap after this. I don't know. I don't think so, though.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
Leader's on final lap. That means I think we have one more lap. So another thing I like that Kunos, I believe, fixed in his patch is actually now that once time runs out, it does give you that lap, that whatever the leader's on. Before it didn't. So I like that they fixed the handling the way the race ends. Oh shoot. Okay. That's one way to make a pass. Okay. We kind of lucked out there. I think we passed 3 cars. I thought I totally missed. My braking point was going to kill someone. Missed the apex. We're going to get murdered on the straight, I bet. That Audi's closing in. We need to outbrake him. Oh, he's really close. I haven't tested out the CSL Elite recently. I would need to check. Throwing into the final turn. We're not going to catch anyone else. Almost looped it around in the final turn. But we should be okay.
Alright, checkered flag. Good job.
Boom.
I'll bring the car back.
So looks like we ended up finishing 16th. So gained a couple spots. Alrighty. I'll take that. So I'm just going to do dry race now. And see how it goes. And sort of get into my final thoughts with this final race. So let's go with clear condition. We'll do 4 p.m. I'm going to jump in the 2018 car again. Because I think that's my favorite of the two. 88%. I might tone down the aggressiveness a bit because they were getting pretty aggressive. GoPro, yes, it does have that same quick release thing. That's one of my least favorite parts about the Thrustmaster wheels. It just isn't as secure as other wheels. Bill, you would have to rewind to check the lap time. Sorry, I didn't pay attention. But you can rewind in the stream and tell us if you want. Sorry. Alright, so let's load this setup. Go into the race.
Going double file.
Let's actually try to make some passes here. Frame rate is so much better in the dry during the day. I'm gonna say that. Interesting though that the Motec display on this car says qualifying no matter what. We got a good start. 3 wide into the first corner. Avoid the grass. Don't hit anyone. I get doored through the curb. They were not aware I was there, I guess. They don't have the same radar I have, but we're okay. Somehow we survived. Not the most graceful, but we worked. We worked through it. Personally, I would prefer the CSL lead over the TSPC. The TSPC is a great wheel. I'm going to be putting out my review on it soon. But there are just a couple gripes I have with it that really keep me from actively recommending it. That's the problem. And especially for the TS series rims, there's this sort of whine in the motor that I just can't for the life of me get out. So you don't really notice it if you're wearing headphones, but if you are actually driving with speakers or something with headphones off, you'll notice it. Actually, I'm going to do an experiment. So I'm going to actually restart this race. So I want to restart this race because I'm noticing I think the setup is affecting us. So I want to jump into the setup screen. Setup. We'll go aggressive preset. And we go to aero. And rear wing is at 0 degrees. Okay. I thought it would have been at something. So let's try something. Front ride height. 55, 55. That lowers the rake. But I would have sworn that it felt like the wing had something. Relatively, so let's just go over this setup screen real quick. So, tire setup, you see the PSI, toe, camber, and caster. So, basically, it allows you to adjust different elements for the tires. Electronics, traction control, ABS, ECU map, and telemetry laps. I don't fully know what that is. I'm not really seeing much of a reference in the guide on the right. So I'll have to look into that later. So, fuel and strategy. 62 liters, that's a little high. So, let's lower that actually. So, 3.5 liters per lap estimated. I love that feature. It gives you an estimate per lap. So, we're doing 10-minute race. So, 35 would be 10 laps. So, that's definitely high for us. Let's do, let's just do 30, be safe. Then compounds, either dry or wet. Mechanical grip, anti-roll bar, brake power, steering ratio. I'm okay with those, to be honest. So, I think that'll be alright for us. So, let's just save this as, Monza 10-minute. And jump out. And let's start this race over.
Stay double five.
See if this helps at all. Hopefully it does. Because we have greatly reduced our fuel load. So switching the fuel load, we've lowered the rake on the car. So should give us a little more straight line speed and maybe even a little better performance in the corners. Might make the car a little looser in the corners, but I think we can handle that.
Right, here we go. Go, go, go.
Horrible start there. Turn 1. That Lamborghini just jumps out in front of us, and we had to brake hard to avoid him. Seems like we're keeping up a little better now. We had the inside line for the corner, so that's good. We're not clear yet. He got on the brakes way early. They did too, so we might be able to steal this position, and he doors us a bit. Let's try going for the crossover. Nope, don't get the run out of the corner that I wanted. We have the slipstream out of the corner, though. Alright, Bill, you have a good rest of your day and night, or whatever it is in between. So we're going to pull out. He's going to jump on the brakes early. Let's outbrake him. Except he gets a better run. He got the inside there. We're keeping up a little better now, so that's nice. They're still pulling away. He's tapping the brakes a bit, so that might give us an advantage. Okay, he just pulls out in front of me while braking. I think we got to run out of the corner. Let's catch some side draft. The Bentley's punching a big hole in the air. We're clear. We boxed ourselves in. Go, thread the needle! That was over-aggressive, but it worked. Whoops. Yeah, I know. Guilty! As Gamer Muscle would say. But that was a cool move. Hey, Raging Beard, how's it going, man? Okay, so we have 7 minutes left. Let's talk about some of my final thoughts on this update. So, I think this is the best update to ACC yet. And I'm not just biased because it's the Nissan GTR and stuff, but it seems like this is one where they've done a massive overhaul to the game in general. Granted, I haven't done online yet, so I haven't been able to test out the new netcode, but the AI seems a little more competitive, a little more aggressive. They're actually racing each other, which is great. I would have loved this to have at least some sort of mechanical damage now. Granted, that would have nearly totaled my car doing the crap that I've been pulling this race, but I would have loved to see at least some form of damage before actually rolling out the final game. Because this is the final release before the full game comes out, unless something changes. So, with that being said, I would have liked to see a little bit more. But having this content available and feeling close to final physics, force feedback still could be a little more communicative, but I just think that realistically, we're getting close. I'm getting more comfortable with my recommendation with ACC. I'm getting a little more comfortable being able to recommend it for racing instead of just hot lapping. Granted, I'm driving with a I'm using an RTX 2070, and at high settings, it's still just about 70 to 80 frames per second. But also, I'm doing 1440p ultra wide. I've been driving with other graphics cards like my 1070, 1080p, high settings, and it does definitely get above 60. But weather, it's definitely still less optimized. But CPU optimizations are definitely felt. It's a lot smoother frame rate wise during the race, which that was one of my biggest gripes. So it's a lot better now, but there's still some room for improvement, but I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun, and that's kind of the point. Would be nice to see flat spotting implemented because Netcar Pro with Assetto Corsa had them both, but I could not feel any tangible example of flat spotting in the game. That was kind of disappointing. But so far, I've been really enjoying this. It's pretty awesome. Okay, brake. And someone was asking, this is with the AI, but you could be fooled now. They're actually being pretty competitive, except for like turn 1. Turn 1, I'm making up a ton of time because they're still struggling a bit there. But the AI, you can tell it's improved. Cars are poking out, trying to battle each other. And that's kind of something you're happy to see. But here, you can tell they're braking way too early. And then, I might be able to pass this guy on the outside. Nope. That Mercedes torque right there. But here, they're going to brake early. I can easily outbrake him and possibly get the spot. But maybe not. Yeah, hits, that would be my guess. That's what I was talking about. Because there's no mechanical damage yet, so I haven't experienced flat spotting or anything like that. Some people said they did have punctures, though, so I'm curious about that. But for now, I'm fine with this as is. Tire model feels good, though. Feel connected to the road. Force feedback could be a little better, in my opinion. But that's something to be said for all titles, just about. And force feedback ultimately is subjective. Force feedback is how a sim compensates for the lack of seat of the pants feel and just that mentality being in a car. So there's no true perfect force feedback analog one-to-one for real life, because if force feedback perfectly simulated real life, it would be incredibly boring. Thread the needle. Just having fun right now. Taking advantage while we don't have damage. I might have to visit the stewards after this race, but hey, we're having fun. Alright, Bill, thanks for that heads up. But yeah, I'm enjoying this build. It works well. It's not perfect, but it's working well. And that's what I could ask for. I tested it with my GTX 1080 earlier, and it was running smooth, above 60 frames per second. So that's great. I might test out with my 1070 build later on, so I'll have to take a look at that. Yes, I have a third computer now. Saw a killer deal on Craigslist and I just couldn't turn it down. It was a 3rd gen i7 water-cooled with GTX 1070, 16 gigs of RAM for $450 on Craigslist. And I was like, yep, I need to pick that up.
Right, man. Leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
ACC, anything that's groundbreaking? Yeah, that's the question, because right now, as is, there's only GT3 racing. There's only GT3 racing. There's only the GT3 tracks. Of course, there's day-to-night transition. I don't know about driver swaps right now. Oh. He just came to a stop. That was weird. So there's still some weird AI behavior I'm noticing. There is still some weird behavior because he should not have come into the corner that slow. Oh, we almost looped it around there. Mandate more than one pit stop. I have no clue. But yeah, I'd say for someone who hasn't bought it yet, it could be worth it if you enjoy GT3 racing. Don't go into this expecting Assetto Corsa 2. Even though the file structure says AC2, this is not Assetto Corsa 2. It's a spin-off game for GT3 racing. Go in expecting that, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. But just know you have to have a beefy computer. That's the thing. Alright, so let's see what we can do. Outbrake this guy. Nope. Couldn't do it. Trying to ride the outside? Nope, not gonna work. Don't want to lose a spot to this Merc. Mirror drive a little bit. He does not have the torque to beat us. Okay. Top 10. Top 10, guys. I'd say that's a good way to end a stream. Whew. Start off 18th place and finish 9th. So, let's just take a look at this replay. Because why not? So here we go. So, just talk about final thoughts. ACC is really coming into its own. And I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that it's actually becoming a solid racing title. It's an incredible improvement over the first build. The first build of ACC just didn't have what I really was looking for. It was a major mess, buggy, but also, as I mentioned in my first stream and my first footage talking about ACC, it's early access. A lot could change. And a lot has. So it's great seeing that. It's great seeing that the graphical fidelity has really taken a step up. And it's gotten better and better optimized as the early access has progressed. It's not perfect though. There's still anti-aliasing issues. There's still weird AI niggles and issues and things like that. There's still a lot of room for improvement, but I think Kunos might pull rabbit out of their hats. This GTR is incredibly fun to drive, even if it might be slower than some of the other cars, because the Lamborghini would beat it in a drag race. The Bentley definitely has a better low-end torque, but watch this. Even though this is downright reckless and stupid, it's a lot of fun. Just threading a needle, splitting the gap, and yeah, this was a blast. I'm enjoying it, and it'll be interesting to see what happens between this final early access build and the official release. I'm excited to see what happens, and once Kunos says this is the final release, it's out, we're putting our name behind it, I will take a look and see how it goes. But I am enjoying this build, so we'll see how it goes. Todd, to answer your question, even though R-Factor 2 is my favorite sim, I would have to go with Assetto Corsa. Assetto Corsa just has the variety and the content that I would be able to suffice myself for a month. Like, that is my answer for you. So, yeah. But, guys, thanks for watching, and we finally... third or fourth time's the charm for getting this stream today out. So I'm happy about that. In 2.5 hours, we have my sim racing system race, and hopefully that goes better than last week, and we can actually get a race off. So if you guys are up at 7 p.m. Pacific time, come and check out that the classic DTM race. But until then, guys, thanks for watching. For the Sim Racing Paddock, I'm William Marsh, and you have a good one.